You're welcome to my series of videos on research reports. In this video, I'll be talking on the structure or outline of research reports. That will be the subject of discussion in this video. So let's see the structure. Usually research reports, I'm starting with journal or conference papers. They always take similar structure. They have similar structure. And they can be divided into three parts. There is part one, there is part two, which is the main text, and there is part three. So any paper, whether journal or conference paper, has these three parts. So let's see what each of those things are. Let's see what each of those parts is made up of. That's the outline of each part. Now, part one for journal and conference papers consists of the title, the abstract, and the keywords. These are the things that form the first part of research, of journal or conference papers. The second part, which is the main text, consists of the introduction, the methods, the results, and discussion. And you can see that abbreviation there, IMRAD. That's I for introduction, M for methods, R for results, A for and, D for discussion. So these are the components of the main text, the part two of journal paper or conference paper. The third part is made up of conclusion, acknowledgements, references. That's what the third part is made up of. So if you are writing a journal paper, these are the things you need to put there. It must have a title, abstract with keywords. Then you have the introduction, you have the methods, you have the results and discussion, and you have the conclusion, and then acknowledgements as well as references. So that's the structure. This is the structure of a journal paper or a conference paper. How about dissertation or thesis? That's the one you submit in partial fulfillment for award of degree. Now, it usually consists of the following. There is the abstract, that's after the title. You have the abstract, the introduction, literature review, the methods, then results and discussion, conclusion and recommendations, and references. Of course, there are a few other additional things you may have here, usually for thesis, depending on your particular institution and the practice there. You have the certification page where the examiners will sign. You have the acknowledgements page where you acknowledge people who have contributed to the work. You have the table of content, all those details are there before you now come to the body, which will contain all the things I have listed here. So the abstract, the introduction, the literature review, the methods, the results and discussion, and then conclusion and recommendations, as well as references. We'll still talk on each of these, so as to explain what and what should go under each of them. How about technical reports? Technical reports usually have executive summary. So instead of abstract, we always talk of executive summary. And then introduction, methods, then data, that's the data sources, the characteristics of the data and limitation, presentation of findings, and then, of course, your conclusion and recommendations. Then it will have bibliography, which are the references, as well as appendices. So these are, in general, the form the technical reports do take. Of course, there could be slight modifications here and there, but these are the essential things that you have there. So you can see that here now, there is no literature review, unlike what you have under thesis and dissertation. It's not that you will not review literature. Definitely, there will be some review, but the reviews you will have will come along with your introduction. So that's the way technical reports are structured. Now, let's move on to things you have to do before writing research reports. When you want to write the report of your research, there are some things you must bear in mind and consider. First, you must get a topic. You must get a topic which will be related to your objective. So the report you want to write, what is the title? So get a topic for it, and the topic must be related to your objectives. Then do literature review on the topic and decide on which papers you will accept. So search for literature. Good enough, the internet is so great now. You can Google search for articles relevant to the topic you are working on, and you will see past work, what others have done. There will always be tons and tons of papers or publications that have been done in areas similar to the topic you are working on. And so you need to decide on which of them to accept, that's to use in your work. And the reason why that decision is important is that there are sometimes you go through some publications and you begin to see conflicting values. Take, for example, you are working in a particular study area and you look at some previous publications from that area. One of the publications says, oh, the total area of that study area is 88 square kilometers. And yet you see in another publication, the area is reported as 54 square kilometers. Yet another, so you have to decide based on wide consultation on which of them you will accept, so that you don't begin to give conflicting facts in your own paper. Now, you need to select a publishing outlet for the paper and go through some samples of their published papers. So you need to find, okay, which journal will I want to put my paper in? When you have made up your mind on the journal, get a copy of the journal, some of the issues, get some of the volumes or issues of the journal, check through the papers they have published before, and just see some examples. That will give you an idea about their style, about, the structure of the papers, and so on and so forth. And all those information will be useful for you. Finally, you must read the publisher's guide for authors. Every journal has its own guide for authors. You have to be familiar with that, because in the guide for authors, that's where they will tell you how the kind of font size they want, the number of pages, the number of words. That's where they will tell you how your tables should be structured, how your figures should be structured, whether it should be within the text or it should be separated on another page, even the page limitation and so on. All those things will be contained in the guide for authors. How your references should be stated, what format to follow. Is it MLA or APA format? That will be stated. So with that, you are mindful of how to write your own paper, since you have already made up your mind to publish in that particular journal. Now, in the next video, we will discuss the general guidelines for writing research reports. That will be the focus of our next video. Join me then.